What's up? This is The Vinyl Casket, home to the lamest taste. My name is Nick, and you can check out my YouTube channel at The Vinyl Casket, where you can subscribe, like, and comment for tons of cool content just like this. This is going to be a first for me, something I did an experiment on earlier in the month that I finally figured out what I wanted to do with it and how I wanted to do it. And this is going to be a live video where I rank most of the albums of Dance Gavin Dance, my favorite post-hardcore, experimental, metalcore, whatever you want to say, risecore band. Um, Dance Gavin Dance is the band that formed in 2005. They've had 3 different clean vocalists, along with a bunch of different other lineups. Their bassist recently passed away, R.I.P. The band's original members that are still in the band are Will Swan, the guitarist, also founder and owner of Blue Swan Records, Matt Mingus, the drummer, and screamer John Mess. Also features the current clean vocalist, Tillian, who is, while being a solo artist, also the former vocalist of Tides of Man. Other vocalists were Johnny Craig of Emerosa, Slaves, his solo project, Ishels and Glaciers, Ghost Runner on third, and then Kurt Travis, who was in A Lot Like Birds, Royal Coda, yeah, I think, and his solo project. I've loved this band forever. I own several CDs, albums, of records. I've been listening to them forever. And they're probably my favorite band. So what I did recently was I sat down while I was trying to get it more into their newer stuff, because they have a new album coming out this year, 2022. I really wanted to rediscover their albums, their music, force myself to absorb and process some of their newer music that hasn't hooked me as recently as it should have, and just go through. So I started on a Sunday, I think it was either Sunday or Monday. It might have been a Monday, where I took the first project, which I consider an album, even though it's kind of an EP. Whatever I say is Royal Ocean. I started with that, and that's all I listened to, in order, not shuffled, the entire day, over and over and over again. Next day was Downtown Battlemat. So I went in order of release. I did not count their 2 live albums, Tree City Sessions. I did not listen to the instrumental versions. I did not listen. I'm not counting. What's it called? Acceptance Speech 2.0. Because my personal opinion is that, well, we'll get into that, but when I get into it, I'll talk about it. So we're dealing with whatever I say is Royal Ocean, Downtown Battle Mountain 1, self-titled Happiness, Downtown Battle Mountain 2, Acceptance Speech, Instant Gratification, Mothership, Artificial Selection, and Afterburner. The 10 albums that we will be talking about today. Those are the 10 albums. You will be seeing them on the screen as I talk to them. When I change it over to here. Over here, it will start. I will do the first, I believe, 6. Yeah, first 6. We're going to be starting from the bottom, what I think is number 10. Working our way up, and then the top 4 will be over here. And we'll go, you'll see it as it happens. I'll talk a little bit about each album, why I picked it. It was very hard for me, but I spent it over a week, like a week and a half, 10 days, I guess. Each day only listening to one of these albums at a time, fully processing it on my train ride to work, in the car, headphones, speakers, car speakers, every way you possibly could listen to an album in the correct order, and fully processed it. So it's taken me a while to really commit to my answers here, but let's get right into it. We're gonna start off scrolling into this little folder, and the first album, number 10, in my personal opinion, also, this is my personal opinion, is gonna be Artificial Selection. While I don't think any of these albums are bad, and I love this band and everything they do. And this was a really cool album. And when it came out, I thought it was pretty interesting, but it never hooked me enough to put it on replay or listen to it as much as I should have, right? I think it's an awesome album. I just think out of the 10 albums we're talking about that they've put out, that it is at the bottom. It doesn't do anything unique or new for the band. It doesn't perfect any of their individual styles that they've come across over the years. It doesn't do anything that separates it from other albums that they've already put out. It's just an album in the style that they've perfected, and it was the next album. Artwork wise, I think it's awesome. And we were just ranking the artwork. I would think this is top tier. I like Artificial Selection. I would say, as I am not prepared to talk about it individually, my favorite song would probably be probably Care or Evaporate, maybe even Bloodsucker. Those would be my top 3 songs off that album. Next, we will be talking about, for number 9, we have Instant Gratification. So, well, I didn't say, but Artificial Selection came out in 2018. Instant Gratification came out in 2015. The year before it, 2 years before it, 3 years, whatever. 2015. I'm gonna kill myself. I'm already making a mess. This album artwork was cool because with the CD you got a poster that gave you the full artwork, the entire battle, which I had next to my bed for the longest time. This album came out in 2015. Which is another Tillian era. I didn't talk about that. These are both Tillian era bands. It's cool. People wanted to say that it was so much better than Acceptance Speech, and this is their follow-up. This is the second album they put out with Tillian as the vocalist. I think some of the rap parts on this that I'm pretty sure this is the album where Will Swan does some really cool stuff. I thought it was a little bit more innovative than Artificial Selection. It did some things that hadn't been done yet. It did some things really well. Stroke God Millionaire was really cool. Awkward's probably my favorite song off the album. This album's only 12 songs, 42-minute runtime. Features Eagle and Crow. That would be so Awkward, Eagle and Crow, and people will probably say We Own the Night, but I'm gonna say Stroke God Millionaire. Features Death of the Strawberry, which is a tie-in song, and also Shark Dive, which is a really good song. But like I'm saying, these albums aren't bad albums. They put out 10 amazing albums, and I'm just trying to sort them. And it's so hard for me as a fan, as someone who's loved them. I went to their 10-year anniversary tour, and 8 is gonna be Afterburner, their newest album that came out in 2021. I want to say 2020, so the tail end of 2020, I believe, if I'm right on that. April. Okay, I thought it was deeper into the pandemic than that. I need some water. So this is their newest album. So I did enjoy it. So when it first came out, I listened to it once or twice, and then it just kind of faded away. I didn't listen to it until maybe later in 2021, where I gave it its credit, and I actually do enjoy it. Some of the songs that I like off it are, I can't say that. Calaminto Global, Say Hi, and Night Sway. I think it's really cool. It has some features, which is rare for a Dance Gavin Dance album. Andrew Wells, as long as Bill Murray, which is the original clean vocalist of Attack Attack. It's a really cool album. It's got 13 songs with a 48-minute runtime. Album artwork's pretty okay, and I just think that this is the album that shows them on the production and professionalism scale how clean they've become and how good at making music and how efficient and how as a group they are so they've gotten to this point where they're just so amazing. Like it's just so cool to see them put out this music, and this is like the most polished stuff they've put out. And that's why it's number 8. For 7, we're gonna go right here with Downtown Battle Mountain 2. This is the last album they put out with Johnny Craig. This is Johnny Craig's return to the band after Amorosa. The album, as I scroll down to pull all this shit out, came out in 2011. I believe this is during my, yes. So this is during my junior year of high school. I got heavily obsessed with this album my senior year of high school, 2012. I loved it. This is the album I think that hooked me personally and then got me to listen to all the other stuff before it, being the two Kurt Travis albums, and the two things that Johnny had already done with the band, as long as Amorosa, and all the other bands that come after it. Why I'm ranking it 7, right? This is kind of low, you would think, for an album that I'm saying that this is the reason I started really listening to the band. It does a lot of cool stuff, right? It's a really good album, but I just think all the albums that are above it on this list did unique and new things for the band at the time period, things that I don't think have been done as good since. I would say this is the point of the list. Whole list is hard. This is the point where like this is one of my favorite albums, but everything the next 6, right? We're at 7. Yeah, we're at 4 albums in. So the next 6 albums I just think are just amazing albums. This is a great album. It is 11 songs, 42-minute runtime. My favorite songs off this album are Spooks, Heat Seeking Ghost of Sex, and it's so hard to pick another song out of this. I would say either Thug City or Swan Soup. Honorable mention would be Pounce Bounce. This features the Robot with Human Hair part 2.5. So this is the first album we're going to be talking about that features the classic, the amazing series of songs, The Robot with Human Hair. This is part 1.5. This is something one of the reasons why this album is a little bit lower. This is the return of Johnny Craig, return of Problems Johnny Craig. For some reason, the band wanted to, instead of putting out part 3, they decided to just put out part, what's it called? 2.5. Instead of recognizing that this was, instead of putting out part 4, they had already put out part 2 and part 3. They went back and made 2.5, which is kind of annoying and kind of a stupid thing to do. Like, I don't know why they would do that. Big slap in the face, I would say, to the previous albums that came right before this. But yeah, this is my number 7. I think it's awesome. I definitely suggest listening to them in order, but if you're gonna start out of order, this is the album I would listen to first. Next, we're gonna go with the first project. I know it's not considered an album technically, but this is the first thing that I would say. Well, this is the first thing they put out. This is their first EP, 2006. The band started in 2005. I consider it an album, even though it's only 7 songs with a 27 and a almost 28-minute runtime. This is the start of the band. This is everything that we know about Dance Gavin Dance starts here. Without the artwork. The artwork is painted and it's not their classic German artist, but it features the songs "Whatever I Say Is Royal Ocean," which is the track title. The Robot with Human Hair Part 1 and Part 2, as well as the robot versus heroin battle of Vietnam, tidal wave, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, the importance of cocaine, and burning down the nicotine amore. Um, all classic Dance Gavin Dance songs. This is the original lineup. Uh, John Mess and Johnny Craig. This is what got them signed to Rise Records. This is what makes the band so amazing from the get go. But obviously, stuff they put on way after 2006 is better, in my opinion. But I think this EP is better than the previous four albums just because of what it is and how amazing it is. And just listening to it, even now, today, like anytime just listening to this, it's so ahead of its time and amazing. And let's move on to number. That was 7, 6. Oh no, right? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. And then this is 5. Yeah. I think. No. Am I doing this wrong? 10, 8, 9. 10, 8. 10, 9, 8. 7, 6, 5. I guess so. Yeah, and then 4. I'm so annoying. This is Acceptance Speech, right? This is Acceptance Speech. So this is the first album they put out with Tillian as the vocalist. This came out in 2013, along with 2019 putting out Acceptance Speech 2.0. I personally, this is going to be like, hit or miss with people saying that Acceptance Speech wasn't good. Acceptance Speech was good. Acceptance Speech was good. End of story. It was a good album. It was good when it came out in 2013 when everyone said it was great. And then when Instant Gratification came out and everyone was like, oh, it wasn't as great as I thought it was originally. It didn't age well. It's not that amazing. Like, they really need to step their game up. And then even the band, for some reason, thought that this album wasn't that good. And it eventually put out a remixed version 2.0. But I listened to this album. I listened to 2.0. Honestly, I pick the original. I think the original is great. I don't know why it's become okay to just say it's not good. Like, why you could listen to this and think it's not good. It's the first Tillian stuff. So obviously Tillian's adjusting and is more Dance Gavin Dancy in Instant Gratification and going forward. But this is the first we get of him. It's him being him, and he hasn't fully Dance Gavin danced himself, right? It's unique because he changed his sound later on. So this is him sounding super unique, super raw. You got some awesome songs here, including part 4 of the Robot with Human Hair, as well as part 3 of Strawberry Swisher, which is a Kurt Travis started series. The Death of the Robot with Human Hair, and Turn Off the Lights, I'm watching Back to the Future Part 2, as I uncontrollably can't control air escaping my body. I would say my favorite songs on here are Jesus H. Macy, Demo Team, and Honey Revenge. Really awesome songs. I think this is peak Dance Gavin Dance. This is when they just become a staple, right? This is where they've been grinding for all these years. They finally get rid of Johnny, and they're ready to be like, okay, we're gonna start making music videos. We're all the time, as much as we can. We're gonna tour as much as possible. Our vocalist isn't gonna go to jail. We already made this mistake of getting rid of Kurt. Kurt at this point is in A Lot Like Birds. Like, we're gonna reestablish everything. We're gonna be back. And they put out an awesome album. I think it's so annoying that it's not considered one of their better albums. I think it's my number 5 album from Dance Gavin Dance, and I suggest you listen to it. It's really good. It's really enjoyable. if you want to listen to the 2.0, it's professionally speaking, it's a better mixed choice, but it's still, they're both really good. Okay, so then we're gonna go with number 4. We've moved into the top 4 with the Dance Gavin Dance self-title. This is the Death Star album, which they legally couldn't say was Death Star. It came out in 2008. This is the first project including Kurt Travis, the one, the only, the amazing Kurt Travis. This still features John Mess on Screams. The album after this, he leaves the band, and then comes back for Downtown Battle Mountain 2. This is a 13-song album, 52-minute runtime. I'm assuming that's because of people you know, which is like a 9-minute song or something like that. Some crazy. It features some 6 songs, including Alex English, Buffalo, Uneasy Hearts Weigh the Most, Rock Solid, part 2 of Burning Down the Nicotine Amore, as long as part 3 of Robot with Human Hair. Me and Zoloff Get Along Just Fine. I can't stop talking about it. This is one of the first times that they had a feature. It was Chino Moreno. I know I said that. I butchered that. Also Skyhook. It's such a good album. This is a really good album. It's my top 4 Dance Gavin Dance albums, and this is like, it gets really hard to pick a top 3 and a top 4. But this album was just so good. It's just so good, and I definitely think that Kurt Travis staying in the band would have been insane. Royal Coda is basically what Dance Gavin Dance would be at this point, I think. But yeah, it's an awesome album with awesome artwork, with amazing songs. The vocals get a little, so before this, Johnny Craig was very R&B, very high, very, like, he had a very style, and Tillian emulates that style in his own way. Kurt was more rough with it, and the screams are really sick. I know Downtown Battle Mountain 2 is when John Mess changed up his screams and perfected it in his own way. But this is still a raw screams with Kurt giving screams and cleans. Everyone's just doing something incredible on this. And I know people really thought that, like, Kurt doesn't want to, there's going to be less screaming with Kurt. It's going to die out eventually. I don't think that would have been exact, but we move on to the top 3 with number 3. And that is a Tillian piece. This is Mothership. I love Mothership. I think it's the 2016 album. It has a 13-song listing with 49 minutes runtime, almost 50, featuring some awesome songs such as Frozen One, Flossie Dicky Bounce, and I would say Man of the Year, with follow-up being Chocolate Jackalope. Awesome song, awesome artwork. This is when Tillian, for me, I was like, okay, I love Tillian. Like, this is so good. I remember going to Warp Tour, I believe 2016. I remember seeing them at Warp Tour, touring on this album. I remember just loving it, loving the live performance. I love this album so much. So this is the album they put out right after the 10-year anniversary tour, because 2015 was the 10-year anniversary tour. So this is an album that came right after that, and dude, they are so talented. This is like the album. Like, I know I've said that a couple times, but this is like the point in their career where like they had established, like, the lineup is established in Acceptance Speech. That's the lineup. That's the lineup we've known for a long time, right? Then you have Instant Gratification, which is where Tillian and John figure out like their exact sound and delivery. And then they come out with this, which Artificial Selection and Afterburner have just been like expanded upon versions of this album. So this album did a bunch of stuff that the other two didn't. Took a bunch of things that the other two albums that Talion was in the band did and expanded on it. And there's have been the template for the next two albums that preceded it. And this is just, it's just so good. It's just so good. It's number 3. There's not much to say about it. The music videos here are amazing. Everything about this album was really good. And then we move on to my number 2. And that is Downtown Battle Mountain. I don't think you can even argue it. It's the first full-length album they put out. It came out in 2007. It is 11 songs, 40-minute runtime. My favorite songs on here would be And I Told Them I Invented Times New Roman, Turn Off the Lights, I'm Watching Back to the Future, Open Your Eyes and Look North. Another song off this album which is so cool is It's Safe to Say You Dig the Back Seat. This established the band as like having some of the most clever song titles. Just being the delivery of Johnny Craig here is fantastic. This is peak Johnny Craig. I would only say maybe one or two Emerosa albums have him being a better vocalist. But this is just, the band is young, they're hungry, they're creative, they're putting out insane stuff. Obviously, you have raw John Mess vocals before he really figured it out. But Johnny Craig here, this is the driving force. It's just amazing. As much as you might not like Johnny Craig as a person, he's an incredible vocalist on this album. He does an amazing job. This album is driven by him. It's the start of everything we know. You have just pure creative energy and amazement and talent in Whatever I Say Is Royal Ocean. Then Downtown Battle Mountain takes that and hones it into a precise tool. And then everything following it is just that tool being used to make new stuff. And it's the building block. And honestly, it's one of my favorite albums of all time. I think it's incredible. I highly suggest listening to all these albums, but definitely I feel like most people would agree with me that this is like the staple. It is the formula. Like, and these albums that I listed as 3 and 4 are adjustments to the formula that I really liked. Like, it's crazy that so far in this top 4 ranking, I've done a Kurt Travis album, then a Talion album, now a Johnny Craig album, and now for my number 1 Dance Gavin Dance album, in my opinion, Happiness. Another Kurt Travis album. But this album, dude, this is the album. This is my favorite album. This is just my favorite album. This is 2009's Happiness. I believe that they were touring Warped Tour for the first time on this album. This is when we first started to get, I think we got Me and Zola Get Along Just Fine music video, not featuring John Mess in it. But this is the era when we got music videos for the first time. This is when they were touring regularly. They were on Warped Tour. They were doing such a great job. John Mess was not in the band. Will Swan was the screamer and rapping on, I believe, Powder to the People. You get the Strawberry Swisher Part 1 and 2. Nassau, I'm Down with Browntown. Carl Baker. Tree Village. It just, you get this trippy inclusion where they add this like weird techno undertone to some of their songs. It's when this album is definitely like the most experimental, but also like I would say anyone that listens to any genre can listen to this album and walk out enjoying a certain element of it. It's the most like accessible album. It's my favorite. It's just so good. All the songs off here are 10 out of 10s. Don't Tell Dave might be my favorite song on the whole album. but I'm just saying, I feel like Kurt Travis never got the chance that he deserved. This album was incredible. Um, and he rode the A Lot Like Birds wave, and he's doing his thing with Royal Coda and some of his other bands. But Dance Gavin Dance is a staple in the scene. This created their own little subgenre, and I feel like that should have been him. Like he built it. Like he built that template. Happiness and self-title is like the era, like 2007, 2008, right? This 2009, 2008, 2009, where like the scene was blowing up. Metalcore, crabcore, risecore, everything's blowing up. Bands are popping up out of every corner, and eventually we start to get a ton of bands that just sound like Dance Gavin Dance, trying to be Dance Gavin Dance, trying to be Circus Survive, trying to be, that style. And I feel like a lot of it comes down to Happiness, because Happiness was bright and colorful and like infectious. And yeah, it took me a while to get here, over 30 minutes, but this is my top 10, my top ranking of all the Dance Gavin Dance albums so far, not including the 2 live albums and 2.0 of Acceptance Speech. There is a new album set to come out this year, later 2022. Very excited about that. They are currently about to start a tour, have started a tour with Coheed and Cambrian, which they'll be trying to go to. Swan Fest happened about a month ago or so. And yeah, the band's just doing as good as they always have. And I'm set to see, I'll do another ranking when they have 20 albums, which I'm sure they will. They put out albums that are at like, they're doing it every other year at this point. And they're just doing an amazing job. Thank you guys for watching. This is the Vinyl Casket, home to the lamest taste. My name was Nick. You can check out my YouTube channel at The Vinyl Casket, where you can check out a ton of other stuff like this. Please subscribe, like, and comment for more. And remember to do me a massive favor and stay lame.